Yes. Tunes playing there in the background. Interesting. So, hi. On StreamYard, they have sort of background music that you can play now. Different ones. Oh, what's feeding the ducks? Let's see what that one is. It's called Feeding the Ducks. Got Feeding the Ducks going on in the background. So I'm hoping you can hear this. I don't know if you can hear this or not, but have that playing. Just want to sit there and sort of drink your coffee, contemplate life. Come on in, everybody. Grab your cup of coffee, grab your tea, grab your water. Whatever your elixir is, whenever you watch this. Come on in, join me. Happy Thursday. So I don't know if everybody gets their notifications that I'm on, but we are building up to a potent full moon in Cancer, which will be exact tomorrow. So I will be working. Those who haven't gotten their full moon mini readings will be getting them today. I'll have them out today. And I know I have to get out. It's funny, I'm home and I get so much stuff I have to do at home that I don't get out. And, oh, look at my eyebrows today. They sort of went bushy. Anyways, we have the full moon is going to be conjunct Sirius, the sun moon opposition, harmoniously linked with Uranus. There's some powerful energy coming in with this lunation, some very powerful. And it's been an extremely weird week. So I'm going to get into that as well. So pull up a chair, pull up a comfy seat, wrap up in your blanket. Let's get down to some business here. And let's talk about a few things. First of all, let's bring in Mercury and where Mercury is. Mercury is going over the same points that it did in January 12th, 2020, when Saturn, Pluto, Sirius, and the Sun conjuncted. Now, this full moon isn't coming up to that point, but it's pretty damn close to that point of January 12th, 2020. We are seeing so much craziness, kind of like the opposite from what happened. In January 2020, we had Kobe Bryant die. This time we had a young, I wrote his name down, a football player get resuscitated twice and come back, and they stopped the game. Okay, they stopped an NFL game. They never stop an NFL game. You could get your head knocked off, and they've never stopped the NFL game, and especially when they're coming into playoffs. So that was very strange and odd. And, Damar is his name, this young boy, 24 years old, heart attack. It's weird. I watched the play, and it was a clean tackle. And then he clapped his hands as if, yeah, I got you, I got you. And then bang, dropped, just bang, went flat on his back. And they resuscitated him on there, and they resuscitated him at the hospital as well. So he did have a thingy on December 26th, and the doctors gave him an okay. So he had a thingy done on December 26th, and I don't want to say what that thingy is because we know I have 2 strikes against me. There's a lot coming out about this. There's a lot that's being said. We had, and it was all over TikTok, where 17,000 doctors got together and scientists about everything and saying how this is, this was a test, and that even though, and there's still like, there are places now in the States that want to put the kids back into masks. Like, what the hell? So weird kind of scenarios and fears are being replayed, but people are pushing back because of the evidence that it's coming back, because even the CNN doctor, who was all this little Asian woman, I can't remember her name, was all about it. Like push, 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 push. Now her child is having speech problems, which is hindering onto her career, because now she has to stop and take her child to special doctors and everything else. So developmental problems, and it's hitting home. So things are hitting home. So we're finding that we're going to go back, with the astrology and where the astrology is hitting, especially with Mercury coming into these points and going over these points, and it's retrograding over these points from 2020. And also where some of the points are where the South Node was in 2020 with Jupiter. So covering what the world is undergoing. And we have Chiron and Jupiter going to be squaring where the South Node was and where Jupiter was at that time over the next 2 months. So this week is really a propping up week. This week is really, as Mars is going to be going direct in a couple weeks. It's going to stop on January 11th, not moving, and it's going to be with Aldebaran. Don't see that. Like, Aldebaran he's Archangel Michael. He is the head of the army. He is the one. Here I am the general or the admiral or whatever of God's army. Those who are aligned with the truth, those who are aligned with that truth, are coming to the forefront and are becoming the fighters. And God wins. There's this energy. So this is where we are starting to see craziness that are happening, at this time. We're also seeing something massive. And when it comes to the birth rate, and 90% of problems that are happening with birth rate from those who've had the elixir. And we're having a high death rate and stillborn birth rate and miscarriages. So when it's coming to a point when a doctor sees a healthy pregnancy and a healthy woman coming in, they're elated, they're happy, they're like, oh my God, this is fabulous. The womb looks good, everything, the placenta. It's becoming a rarity. And as Pluto is building up to go into Aquarius, we're going to be seeing this more. So we're seeing this happening, and it is part of the awakening. It's part of, and as I mentioned about the awakening a couple of days ago, but it's part of us aligning with our truth, aligning with, my intuition said, this isn't what I needed to do. This is not what I wanted to do. I needed something, I need to align with my truth. And this energy that's coming in is, about our personal growth. Now, Aries can open doorways. Aries is great at starting stuff. God bless my Aries. You're great at starting stuff, but you're not great at following through. It's Capricorn that gets us going. Capricorn is the energy that moves us through us and says, you want to go through that door, this is what you need to do. So it's setting out that plan, setting out that energy. And this is where we have to also look at and making sure those are the steps we want to take to go through the doors we want to go through, because big mistakes can happen. We have big mistakes. So we can start looking farther and farther ahead, connecting with other people, connecting with others who can help us align, help us to work through what we need to go through. Because a lot of this energy is very odd and strange. It's like certain things, Tim Pool put a tweet. I don't know if any of you follow Tim Pool. I do. He's a podcaster, and he's on Twitter all the time. But he put a tweet up about, are we living through a stimulation, and showed something from a basketball game. And it was just, I had to watch it a few times. And it's like, he didn't pass the ball, but the guy has the ball. Like, You can see when a person passes the ball in basketball. No, it was as if he was still standing in as if he was holding the ball. So it's like, are they, the stimulation simulation that's going on, is there's kind of like glitches coming in because we have that Mars and Aldebaran coming in, because truth is coming, being upheld. We also have to remember in 2020 is that when Mercury did go retrograde, it was in Pisces, and that's when I said a spell would be cast. And be aware of the spell being cast, be aware of what is going to be unfolding. And now we are starting to, 3 years later, we're going to be starting to see crazy erosion starting to happen. Crazy information starting to come out that has been suppressed, right? For us. And same within Twitter, a lot of information coming out on Twitter, and Elon Musk really pushing for things to be shown, from Russiagate to the elixir to, the death rates that are coming out, especially with young men dying from myocarditis. Excuse my English. Sorry if I pronounce that wrong. And David Wolf said, let's not make that normal. Let's not normalize this. So, and this was on Twitter. He tweeted that out as well. So we're seeing weird things happening, right down to, in the House of Representatives in the United States. It's been 100 years since they haven't been able to vote for a Speaker of the House, since 1923. So we're seeing all of these things, and the Pope dying. Now that a second Pope, so the Pope Benedict was there, and he resigned, he stepped back, and they voted in Pope Francis. We've never had a Pope bury another Pope since the Black Plague. So we haven't had two popes since the Black Plague, which is in the 1300s. So we have this weird oddity of energy that's coming in. And this is where a lot is replaying, but it's kind of in reverse. So we're seeing things happening, but it's in reverse. Where we saw, not LeBron, but we saw the young basketball player die in 2020, and now we see a NFL player live, So we're seeing some things being replayed, from Speaker of the House to no Speaker of the House, to things that are kind of odd. And this is kind of an odd week. So this is very much a week of us, coming into our higher love, our higher wisdom, especially with the moon conjuncting Sirius. And this is where we, with Sirius is the spiritual sun of our sun. And I'll be posting this up, from a quarter to a sixth, we've had, from the fourth to the sixth, we've had this big activation of the sun, the earth, and now the moon. We can add Mercury into the mix as well, into this conjunction. So this is our higher love, our higher self, our wisdom coming out, and our truth, coming into our truth. And if we have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, we have to take time to tune into this. The door could open, but we got to take time to look at what are we going to plan to go through that door. What are the things that we need? What's in my toolkit? What do I need to add into my toolkit in order to help myself to be stronger, more vibrant, and live more authentically within who I am? And this is, today with the sun trining Uranus, and as the sun and Mercury make their way to conjoin Saturn, and then Mercury trines Uranus on Sunday, we essentially have the Sun-Mercury conjunction, which makes the midpoint of Mercury retrograde cycle occurring, with both of them trine in Uranus, and he's going to be going over that point from January 12th, 2020. So with Uranus even activating within that energy, so we have this Uranian activation, it becomes an unknown, because Uranus is the unknown. He wants to bring in the higher self. He is the higher self of Mercury. He is that connection and wanting to make that connection. And sometimes in making that connection, is something that can be very abrupt, very transformational, but it could be where you get the Four of Cups and you don't want that gift. You want it the way this is. You want the tree in front of you. You want it that way. But the Four of Cups comes in and saying, I'm giving you this new gift. This new gift is going to help to align you. We know that you've gone through many battles. You know, the Seven of Wands, you've gone through these battles. But you've come up. You're still there. You're still holding your passion. You're still holding that strength. You are above of it. You are above it. You know you've battled much, right? We have been battling much, but we are coming above it. And through all of these battles brings in that strength. And this is where you're going to get bolts out of the blue in awareness, like holy fuck, you know, profound insight, intuitive downloads, and huge, keeping our minds open to hear more truth. That's going to be the hard part, because things are going to be like boom, 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 and all this information coming in and having to decipher it. You know, this is where you thought, my mother always said, never underestimate what your children can do. And don't overestimate what your children can do. And never think your child will never do something. You know, you have the parents, oh, my child would never do that. My child is the best child. Oh, my child never lies. My child would never steal. My child never do this. Blah, 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 blah. Always, you know, this is where it's like information come through. It's like, oh, you mean my child drew that? Oh, my goodness, I never knew he or she was such a beautiful artist. You know, this is where the energy is coming in. It's like, oh, wow, this is, you know, to the opposite side, like, oh, I never thought that you could do this. This is so absolutely fabulous. So this is where Uranus can come in, and Uranus can bring us that, you know, the bolt, and read between the lines, see what is hidden and what's to be revealed is the key. So these are aspects are occurring during Mercury retrograde and the midpoint with the sun. So this energy is bringing in greatness with us. And it also has Pallas Athena, wisdom, coming forth. And Mercury opposes Pallas Athena, which adds even more to the bigger awareness of the theme. So wisdom, the warrior goddess, she is, you know, she is this beautiful, she's the sister of Mars. So she's coming in. She wants to bring in the wisdom of how do you want to battle this? How do you want to take in this information? And how do you want this information to play out within your world? So this is very important. So she's able to perceive how things interconnect and see the threads that may not be obvious. And what is interesting, she's in Cancer. So she's deeply emotionally and intuitive in the intuitive sign. And deeply emotional, you know, having this emotion is like, the gift is to feel into it and not overthink. Feel it. Don't think about it. Just come into that feeling. Allow for yourself to embrace it. And sometimes that's very difficult to embrace those feelings, because embracing the feelings, that means, oh, feeling it. I know my little air signs. I know you guys got to feel it. But it's so important, because in feeling it, you're going to get the intuition in order to go forward and become stronger. And Uranus can provide the release and the valve for facing it and releasing it. So we have this energy of a releasement. I can feel it, but I don't have to get overstimulated with it, right? And have that overstimulation. So Uranus was going to come in and release the valve for all of that energy that's coming in with the goddess, you know, the goddess Pallas Athena. I'm bringing you great wisdom, and you're just like, oh my God, this is so much coming forth for me. You know, I had to split up doing the mini full moon readings because there was so much information coming in, and I'm talking so fast because it's like I just want to give, you know, mini readings are only 15 minutes, right? And this one, there's so much coming in, and I'm trying to give them so much information, and it's just like, whoa. So I had to split it up, because I'm holding this information, I'm holding this energy within me, and at times it's just like, you know, sometimes it'll give me this bolt and burst of energy depending on the sign. Other times I'm just like, oh my God, why am I feeling like need another 20 cups of coffee. This is where, with this Mercury in Capricorn, we have to be willing to question the dogma and the rigored beliefs that have been happening, and the patriarchal system and structures of the old paradigm. And Pallas can provide the insight into what this is, and Uranus can release the valve for facing it. There's so many truths that are going to be coming out over the next several months that is going to be so difficult for many of us to realize and to see. I jokingly said to my husband, I said, what happens if they made President Trump Speaker of the House? Because in the Constitution, anybody can be appointed as Speaker of the House in the United States, in the House of Representatives. And he goes, no, blah, 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 because my husband hates Trump. Then all of a sudden, one of the Trump supporter women, I can't remember what her name is, but she was on Fox, just threw it out there. I just sort of laughed. But Trump is also throwing out where, when he announced when he was going to be running, which was kind of odd, because I thought, well, this doesn't make any sense, because the astrology was really bad for him to make that announcement. And I just, well, maybe this is a play, like he's doing a play. There's something that's not right, and he's just coming out about having, if he's not backed by the GOP or something, he is looking at a third party, which is very much in alignment to what happened in the United States with the Pluto return and having the Pluto return. We've also had the Pluto return happen within the United States. It's this energy that's coming in that's playing out before our very eyes. And this is where we really have to, look at, because, with the moon in its ruling sign, with this full moon, there's a lot of emotion, and Chiron is also squaring that. So there's a lot of hurt and pain and everything coming out. So we also have to look at and go back to what was going on between January 12th, 2020 and to now, and all the pain and all those belief systems that people really believed what they were doing was the right thing. Really believing to say, oh, I totally believed in it. And seeing the repercussions that are happening. So now there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of healing that's going to be coming out and just exploding. And this is very emotional. And this is the shadow is coming in and working within the inner child. So any of you who've done your journey club, maybe this is bringing in week 4 and week 5, and everything is an illusion. Nothing is real. That's week 2. Everything's an illusion. Nothing is real. We're living in an illusionary world. What you see is what you project. So this is coming in and looking into your inner child, the anger, the rage, and with the astrology, it's really, if you're not working on it, it's going to force you to work on a lot of inner stuff that you need to work on. And this full moon being in Cancer, being very emotional, is really going to push that factor. And I'm going to sneeze. 1 second. And my shaman has always said that whenever I sneeze, whenever you sneeze, that means truth is coming out and change when you're doing spiritual work. Interesting, right? And I even heard an astrologer say that too one time. And I'm like, oh my God. That was so cool. So we are having some weirdness going on within this time. And, Dr. Malone is the one who brought in through the breaking news, because there was a conference of 17,000 physicians and scientists who got together. And it's on TikTok. You can do Dr. Malone. And he called it genetic therapy. Oh, sneezing on the truth is David G saying too. Oh, really? Oh, because years ago, that's when I was going through my shamanism class. That's what my shamanic teacher used to say to us too. So that's cool. That's cool when you hear other people like, yeah, that's what. I love it. I love when things like that come together. But this is, look up where Dr. Malone, he had the thing on TikTok, and even because he's, I don't know if he's been reinstated on YouTube or not. So, but it's all over Twitter too, on what he was talking about, and talking about it being a genetic therapy that they were doing. So what was being played out was a genetic therapy. And they're still trying to continue that genetic therapy to manipulate, human and what a human is. And so, this is where you can also get into a lot of craziness about the soul factor and things like that, and how when you take, with anything, when you take the soul out, when you take that part out, it is where the deadness comes in. And that's where you can get a lot, the zombie effect and people being controlled, the controlling effect. So the thing is that so much is coming forth, weirdness, from February 20th, I think, with the Pluto conjunction at 27 degrees 33 seconds, coming into that conjunction. We have July, it's coming in exact again on July 11th, 2022. And also with Mercury or Jupiter retrograde during the summer, so bringing in some really, weirdness of that happened in 2022 with the economy, gas soaring, rates and stuff going up. We're going to see a lot of that coming through again. Interest rates definitely going up. We're going to see soaring gas prices also again. They're going to be coming forth in the next little while, in the next couple of months. So a lot more of this I will be covering in my peek into the underdog. That's what I'm calling it, tomorrow evening. So if you haven't told me you wanted to join, let me know. It's $30. And yeah, I'd love to see you there. We got a really nice crew of beautiful people that have joined so far, and a nice group. So, of course, you'll be able to see one another if you want to, and you'll be able to ask questions if you like as well. And I'll be on Google Meet. So today, I'm sending you guys out so much love. Please be kind to yourself. Don't overthink shit. My air signs, my earth signs, you guys too. My fire signs and that will just get angry and go through it. Water signs may want to hide away. Air signs may not want to deal with it. And earth signs will be like stamping through everything, right? You only have nice followers. That's right. So this is where I feel like you guys really have to be kind to your emotions, because Uranus is going to bring you the breakthroughs, and especially between now and as we're going into the full moon tomorrow and leading into the weekend as well. So it's going to bring in a little bit of craziness and erratic energies for us to have to deal with personally. And so be kind to people out there. If you're going to see people be assholes in lineups and stuff like that, and frustrations and whatever it is. So be kind, and be kind to yourself. If it's just too much, don't go do it. If it's too much for you to go do your shopping, if it's too much for you to go on the road, don't go. Follow that intuition that's trying to tell you that, maybe you need to take a step back and not do those things. So may the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you. Onwards and upwards, everybody, and blessings to you all. I will talk to you tomorrow, because I'm off again tomorrow. Yes! Bye-bye.